Namaste, beautiful ones. Welcome to your practice themed on the Svadhisthana Chakra, the Sacral Chakra, the second subtle energy center in the body. So we're going to start straight away today. You don't need anything unless you have a yoga block. You might have that nearby. And we're going to start laying on our backs in Supta Baddha Konasana. So come down, bring the soles of the feet to meet, and allow the knees to fall outwards towards the sides of the mat. And you might rest your hands just down towards the front of the pelvis area, or even just at the tops of the thighs. And if for whatever reason this position of the legs is just uncomfortable for you, perhaps in the lower back, then you might do the opposite and have the feet wide on the mat and allow the knees to fall in toward one another. And we'll just arrive here together. And you might even close the eyes now. And as you settle here into Supta Baddha Konasana, just starting to become aware of the breath and have a feeling of the movement of the breath in your body today. Maybe you even feel the movement of the breath beneath your hands. And it might be helpful to attune to the movement of the breath, just like a gentle tide or waves in the ocean, rising and falling. And as you do this, you can bring your awareness down towards the pelvic bowl and just notice sensations here for you today. Noticing if you feel connected to this area of the body, if there's a sense of aliveness for you here. And we'll just stay here a few more moments, allowing yourself to deepen the breath, to gently elongate the breath, but nothing forceful, just really, really smooth, gentle. This chakra is associated with creativity, pleasure, emotional connectivity, and the element of water. So just following the waves of the breath and the awareness of the sensations down towards the pelvis. And as you're ready, if the knees are wide in Baddha Konasana, you can use the hands to support the legs as you gently draw the knees toward one another. And then we'll just pick up the feet, hug the knees into the chest for a moment. And you might rock a little side to side. And then we'll transition together, either rocking forward and back, up and down the spine, or just simply rolling to a side and pressing yourself upwards. And let's meet together on hands and knees in tabletop, all fours. And we'll have the hands either underneath the shoulders or just slightly forward of the shoulders. And let's just start to move through cat and cow together. Little back bend, arching the spine and rounding the spine. And as you move through your cat and cow, feeling as though you're initiating the movement from the pelvis. So the movement's like a wave. There's that water element again, rippling from the tail all the way up the spine to the nape of the neck. And allowing yourself to take it at your own pace, finding a nice balance between fluidity and containment. And as you're ready, you might start to invite just a little bit of creativity into the movement. So maybe you start moving slightly differently here with the spine. So I'm circling the pelvis now through space. But you might be doing something else. You might be circling through the spine a little bit more. Or enjoying exploring serpentine movement in the spine. The invitation is to do what is pleasurable and enjoyable for you today here. And of course, we can explore going in both directions, especially if you're traveling in circular movements. And then you might come with me and allow the hips to come all the way back to the heels in child's pose. And if you're pregnant or practicing this and feeling a little congested in the belly, you just might separate the knees a little wider today, giving yourself some more space. Remember, this is about enjoyment and pleasure, especially this chakra. And on your next in-breath, we'll follow the wave-like pattern again, rising to all fours, shifting the hips forward, letting the hips melt forward and down, and lifting and opening through the front of the chest in a soft back bend, and returning back to child's pose. And we'll just rinse and repeat, really letting this movement just wash through the body, being mindful of any discomfort that might arise in the lower back as you shift forward into the back bend. You don't need to drop the hips so low. You can be a little more conservative. And allowing yourself to add or riff off whatever I'm offering today. So that's where the element of creativity can come in again. So you can really enjoy and explore and create in your practice. You might do one or two more, especially if it's feeling juicy for you, delicious for you. And whenever you're ready, you can make your way to your first downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. If down dog's not feeling so delicious and juicy for you, you might keep the knees on the mat and take a puppy pose, a half down dog, stepping the hands forward, melting the chest and the forehead towards the mat. And for those of us that are in downward dog, you might let yourself play a little bit here, right? Finding a little bit of rhythm, or connecting again to this area, the watery bowl of the pelvis where we give birth to creativity. Maybe swaying the hips side to side. And remember, if you enjoy the practice or enjoy practicing with me, you can subscribe so that you are notified, or that you know when the next practice is available for you. Okay, beautiful one. So let's just find center for a moment. Take a moment of stillness, a beautiful wave of the breath. Let it wash through the body, inhaling and exhaling. And on our next inhale, we'll raise the right leg into a three-legged dog. And exhale, step the right foot forward between the hands for a warrior two, pivoting the back heel in and down on the mat and rising up. And let's bring the hands to the pelvis here, to the hips today. And we'll connect again with this area, observing sensations and softening a little. So you might pulse through the front leg, or you might pulse a little through both legs. And if you're pulsing through both legs, bending the knees, you might notice as you feel the hands on the hips that the pelvis slides through space, left to right, right to left. Just enjoying that softness. There's a lovely soft strength here, like water. The legs are strong, but there's a fluidity in the movement. And then when you're ready, we'll bend the front knee, straighten the back leg, and you might reach the arms and find warrior two. And on your next inhale, we'll straighten through the front leg, and exhale, tilt the bowl of the pelvis to the right, reaching through our right fingertips, our right side body, and then coming into Trikonasana, right hand to shin, top of ankle, or maybe you're using a block today. And let's add a little bit of fluidity here too, just circling the top arm. It doesn't matter if you circle forward first or backward first. Just go whatever came naturally, organically, freely for you. Sometimes I like to imagine tracing my fingertips across the surface of a body of water when I do this. One more circle. And the next time your arm reaches forward and down towards the front foot, we'll just release. Bend the front knee, step back and find downward facing dog. And then just see how much fluidity you need today. So you might stay in downward facing dog, or you might come with me. Inhale, lower the knees to the mat. Exhale, hips to heels, child's pose. And again, inhale, rising, washing forward into that soft, relaxed back bend. And exhaling, back to down dog. And if you are choosing something other than down dog, maybe half down dog or even child's pose, that's absolutely beautiful. So from here, if you're in down dog, three-legged dog, inhale, raise the left leg. And exhale, step the left foot forward between the hands. And we come back up into our warrior two, back heel, anchors on the mat, hands to the hips, and just pulsing through that front leg. Or both legs. Really, we're just using the experience of the movement, the waves of movement and the waves of the breath to put us in touch with what's happening right now so that we get to enjoy the juiciness of life. And then front knee bends, back leg straight and strong, arms reaching. And then we press into the front foot, straight in the front leg. And pelvis pause to the left, reaching through the left side body. Trikonasana on the second side, circling the top arm. One more lovely big circle. And then we can release again. Front knee bends, anchor and step back. Finding movement or stillness, pulsing through the legs or lowering to all fours. Hips to heels, child's pose. Rising and shifting forward into our relaxed upward dog. And back to down dog. And remember, if it's a struggle to step the front foot forward, as it is becoming more difficult for me as I move through pregnancy, you can always lower the knees to the mat first to step through. So let's play again. Right leg rises, three-legged dog. And exhale, step forward, or lower the knees to the mat, step forward. Back to warrior two, just briefly. This time we'll keep our back leg strong and we'll dance through the upper body, adding just a little bit of more fluidity to the spine, reaching up and back, peaceful warrior. And then right forearm to thigh, left arm reaching overhead. We'll just play with this a few times. And you might let the arms just be a little freer. So maybe the forearm doesn't need to go to the thigh. Maybe the arm reaches in front instead. Let's reach up and back, peaceful warrior, reverse warrior, one more time. And then we'll transition to half moon, exhaling, leaning forward, reaching that right arm forward, stepping the back foot in, smooth and strong, just like water, shifting the weight into the front foot, bringing the hand to the floor or a block right underneath the right shoulder here. That's it. Nice. And then you might again play with the top arm. Or if you prefer, you might bend the top knee, reach the hand to take the foot, take a little bind. And on our next exhale, let's bend the supporting leg knee, the right knee, and step back. Warrior two. Reach up and back again one more time. Lovely side bend. And then exhale. We circle hands to mat and step back together. Downward dog. And give yourself now 3 to 5 breaths just to find what's juicy and alive for you. So maybe that's child's pose, maybe that's moving back to that soft, relaxed, upward facing dog. Maybe it's something else, a little bit of cat-cow, or something that doesn't even have a name. Give yourself a handful more breaths here. Just enjoying, delighting in being in the body and in relation to self as you move. Connect to the breath. Connect to what's present for you. And then we'll begin to make our way back to downward facing dog, beautiful ones. And we'll do last side together. Left leg, three-legged dog. Left foot steps forward. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And then we go again. This time the left arm, the front arm reaches up and back. And then we dance forward into a side angle variation. Just maybe enjoying a few cycles like this. Just being in the movement. Being in the play. Being in the dance. And the next time you reach up and back into peaceful warrior, let that be the last time. And then we'll start to transition again. Leaning forward, reaching forward, shifting forward, and lifting the back leg up. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. The moon is very watery, affecting the tides on our beautiful planet. And again, once you've found the balance, you can just see where you want to go with it. Playing with the arm, or playing with the right leg, bending the knee, taking the bind into Ardha Chandra Chapasana. Another breath. Back leg alive. And exhaling, smooth transition if you can. Left knee bends, lean forward, lightly stepping back into Warrior 2. And then kind of just as a celebration, reach up and back one more time. And then we go hands to mat. Downward dog. And this time we'll come straight into a pigeon pose, darling ones. So right knee forward behind right wrist. Left leg long behind you. And you might step the hands a little further forward and just gently wave through the spine. Bending the elbows, lowering, straightening the arms, lifting. Rippling through the spine for a few cycles of breath. And remember, of course, pigeon pose isn't for all of us. Sometimes the front knee is really sensitive, really tender. So we can take a seated version, knees bent, soles of feet on the mat, hip width distance, right ankle to top of left thigh, and adjusting the position of the left foot further away or a little closer to find just the right amount of sensation of release in the outer right hip. So if you're in pigeon pose, you might just take one more delicious wave. And transition back to down dog. If you're in the seated variation, you might stay just an extra breath or two there. And then we'll all take the second side. Left knee forward in single pigeon, or left outer ankle to top of right thigh. And finding a little movement. Once again, we want to explore that balance between fluidity and containment. Not so fluid that we collapse, not so much containment that we are rigid, stagnant, tight. For those of us that are in the seated variation, take a few extra breaths there. And those of us in pigeon pose, transitioning back to one more downward facing dog. And then we'll all just release together and meet, coming to lay back down on our backs. Knees in towards the chest. And for me, I feel like it's just really nice to take as a gentle twist today, considering the theme of our practice, to have the feet on the mat as wide as the mat. Let the arms float up overhead and let the knees just windshield wipe, wash a little side to side. And as you do this, just following the movement of the pelvis as it pours over to the right and over to the left, following the movement of the legs. And the next time the knees fall over to the right, you can stay there and breathe. You might hook the outer right ankle to the outside of the left knee. But if that feels like a little much for you today, you can just leave it out. Coming back to the sensations down in the watery bowl of the pelvis. And then we'll release from the side, unhooking the foot, lifting the knees and allowing them to drop over to the left. Sometimes it's just really nice to encourage the awareness and the wave of the breath down into the front of your right hip and the thigh here. Hooking the foot only if it's delightful, pleasurable, enjoyable for you. Remembering that this is what this chakra is all about. And we'll unhook the foot. Lift the knees back to center, darling ones. Take a moment to wrap or hug the knees into the chest. And let's close as we begin today. Soles of feet together, knees releasing outward into reclined cobbler's pose. And hands settling down onto the lower belly, front of the pelvis, tops of the thighs. And letting go now of any efforting as best you can. Relaxing tension in the jaw or any holding on in the face. Any guardedness in the chest or tension in the belly. Letting go of any work in the hands and the feet. And if it's helpful to you to just connect again to the element of water. Allowing yourself to float and knowing that When we're in water, we float best when we're completely relaxed. Floating in, if you like, a calm lake or a calm ocean, buoyant, and just carried on a gentle tide. And allowing yourself to drift, allowing the mind to drift to wherever it needs to go. And you might choose to stay here. Maybe you reach out and just turn off your device or put the screen down and take a little bit longer to rest and float in this beautiful space of awareness. But if you've just got 30 minutes to practice today, then you will gently support the legs, draw the knees toward one another, feet to mat. And we'll roll together to a side and press ourselves gently back up to sit. Taking a moment, maybe lifting the hands to the heart and just acknowledging all the juiciness, the sweetness, the nectar that's present for you in your life, in your day. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you, beautiful ones, for sharing your practice. Remember to subscribe if you enjoy practicing with me, or like or share with someone who you think might enjoy. And I look forward to practicing with you next time. Sending you all my love.